Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire has officially been released in theaters, and yesterday I watched it in IMAX. And oh my god. That was really good. Today I'll be reviewing the film and giving my first non-spoiler thoughts on it. Yes, this is a non-spoiler review, so if you haven't watched it yet, don't worry about any spoilers in this video. I'll be going over my general thoughts on the film, including some positives and a very few negatives. Let's get into the review. So let's start with the positives. This film is basically what you've been asking the Monsterverse to give us for such a long time now, and it really paid off. The amount of monsters was just insane, and the story of the film wasn't too bad. It was pretty straightforward and simple. It was also easy to understand, and that straightforward story helps for even more action to commence. And when it comes to this film's action, yeah, there is a lot of it. Pretty much the whole movie is just continuous monster action, and I like that. Again, more monster action is what we've been asking for. Even when the humans were on screen, I wasn't too annoyed about them. And there were some I actually wanted to see a little more of, such as Bernie and Trapper. Those two felt like characters who we could all enjoy, and they were just dumb fun. Now let's talk about the main monsters, Godzilla and Kong. Kong was really well used in this film as a main character. His emotions felt really human and animal at the same time. Whenever Kong is on screen, you can clearly understand what he's trying to say in his facial expressions. And when Zuko came into picture, Kong's character grew even more. Kong always took the spotlight when he was on screen. You could always tell what he was feeling and what was going through his head. Same with the Scar King and his army. They had a lot of human emotion. The director Adam Wingard even said that when they wrote down the scripts for the film, they gave actual dialogue to the monsters. This film was told mostly through the monsters' perspective, and the spotlight is focused on them acting with emotion. As for Godzilla, he didn't have as much screen time as Kong, but whenever he was on screen, it was well worth the wait. We got to see Godzilla do his thing as the humans narrated, and I could see why they chose for the humans to narrate. It's probably because it's hard to show enough emotion from Godzilla to actually tell a story straight from his perspective. Whereas Kong, it's much easier since he's more human-like. Godzilla really dominates the film with his crazy new powers and the fights he has. And yes, Godzilla will have a lot of epic fights in this movie. Now let's quickly talk a bit about Scar King. That marketing for the film said absolutely nothing about how evil he really is. I think when Adam Wingard said Scar King was the most powerful threat in the Monsterverse, he really meant to say that Scar King was the greatest threat. Because he actually felt like a true villain in this movie. And the best part is that's actually explained why. Scar King may not be the strongest villain, but he's definitely the best villain in the Monsterverse. Scar's facial expressions show even more of how evil he is. He even has an evil laugh whenever his plans begin to work, and that evil laugh is really funny, not gonna lie. And the final main positive I had was the connectivity this film had with the previous Monsterverse films. The dialogue in GXK mentioned a lot of things that connect this film with the others, and the connectivity was also visually shown in the form of the technology used in this film. Overall, I have a lot of positives with Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, and it felt really fun to watch from the start to end. It never truly bored me out. Now let's get into the very few negatives I have. My main negative with this film was definitely the pacing. At most times, especially during the action sequences, the film felt too fast-paced. Even though I enjoyed the monster action, there weren't really any memorable moments from the fights. Everything felt really fast and enjoyable, but I just wish it went a little bit slower so I could enjoy the fights even more. Even with the final battle being 8 minutes long, it felt like it was 4 or 5 minutes long because of the really fast pacing. So pacing is something that could be improved in the third film of Wingard's supposed Godzilla X Kong trilogy. Another small issue was the unnecessary lines that some human characters had. That was kind of annoying since it literally had nothing to do with the film, and it just felt like throwaway sentences just to keep the film going. And the last negative I have is the lack of origin explained. Sure, there was a little bit of the backstory for the villains that was explained, and the connection to humans thing was also sort of explained, but for the most part, it felt like a lot more of the actual origins of the Titans could have been explained. Considering that the synopsis promised that, and the working title for this film was literally Origins, I think a lot more could have been done here. Other than those things, I really don't have a problem with this film. It was a fun and crazy ride through the Showa era of Godzilla films with its vibrancy and crazy action sequences, plus the good amount of emotion it had. For now, I'm going to be giving this film a solid 8.75 out of 10. My rating can change, so if it does, I'll be placing my new rating on my community tab. This was an absolutely amazing film to see, and if you haven't watched it yet, what are you doing? Go watch it right now. It was especially good to see this film in IMAX where the monsters are so much clearer to see, which makes the movie even more enjoyable. You've heard from me, but now I want to hear from you. What did you think of Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire? Did you enjoy it, or did you think that it could have been better? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, make sure to subscribe because you bet a lot of Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire content discussing the film is coming here on the channel. And like this video if you enjoyed it. Bye bye.